Hello everyone. We're back with another installment of Am I the Asshole? If you're a fan of listening to Reddit stories, it would make a huge difference for our channel if you could give us a like or subscribe. Without further ado, let's dive into our first story. Am I the asshole for requesting an explanation for my money being spent without my consent? This past summer, I underwent a lengthy surgical procedure that required several weeks in the hospital out of town and several months follow-up. I needed to have someone stay and help me over those first 8 weeks, so I rented a large house on the water with a pool. I wanted those who came to help me to have an enjoyable environment. Friends and family offered to help, and a schedule was made. Basically, people made it a vacation and met my needs while enjoying the amenities. My late husband's sister was the first to take advantage of the great setup. She stayed a week. She arrived while I was still in the hospital, and then hustled out as fast as possible and left the day I was discharged. She didn't bother to visit me while in the hospital as she didn't like the traffic, effectively doing nothing for me but enjoying the beautiful home and amenities. Prior to the surgery, I let her know that I was leaving $1,000 in the home to be used exclusively for items needed for the house, paper and laundry products, and cleaning supplies. Also, any needs for my dog who would be at the house when I was discharged. Imagine my shock when I discovered she spent all of the dollars in 6 short days. Hurt and feeling used, I decided to table the issue till I was feeling better. As I was recovering, I was not texting or answering calls, phone was off. I needed all of my energy for my literal survival. There was no consideration for what I was going through, and thus no communication from me. Weeks later, her husband made a feeble attempt to admonish me for not texting and calling her to make her feel better. Sorry, not sorry was my response to this entitled one. Nearly 3 months later, I was back home, and she came to visit. After a pleasant visit, I asked what made her think that it was okay to spend all of the money I had left for use at the house. She said she had given me receipts for her expenses. That is true. She began charging me before she left home. Body wash, breakfast, chewing gum. Then she stated she used it to stock up the kitchen. I asked for whom. Since it was bits of leftovers, for whom was she leaving these? She had several notes stating she used her own credit card and no receipt available. Listing food and gas, she has an electric car. Then she stated that I had gifted it to her. I reminded her that I had not, and my instructions. Then she stated it was her expense account. I asked why she thought she was entitled to an expense account, and what made her think I would provide one. When I originally rented the house, she shared that she had been bragging to friends about her wonderful vacation planned at my summer rental. I fully realized that this bridge is burned, though I cannot imagine what difference it could make. Not the asshole for being upset at her callous behavior at your expense. If you want to wholly burn that bridge, feel free to warn your family about her behavior so they can all protect themselves or their loved ones from her selfishness and theft if they ever are in a similarly vulnerable position. Never leave sister-in-law unsupervised near anything of value, and don't worry about being generous to others other than her where she can see. She has already helped herself to her total share of your kindness, generosity, and consideration for others. Everything remaining can fairly only be given to others without guilt. She should be grateful that you haven't filed a police report for her theft. I think I would sue her. Ask yourself what Judge Judy would say to, Your Honor, I rented the house for my aftercare and left $1,000 petty cash in the home for household expenses. My sister-in-law decided to come the week before I got out of the hospital, spent the whole $1,000, and told me I owed her for her expenses because she was only there for my aftercare, before I got there and actually needed care. Even if I didn't win, the embarrassment she would feel would be payment enough. Spelling it out like that makes a situation I already understood sound even worse. Well played. Not the asshole. You sound like a wonderful, thoughtful person, and your late husband's sister knows this and thought she could take advantage of you and you'd be a doormat and allow it. She used you and stole from you. I'm sorry that happened. Hopefully, the other guests were less disappointing. Am I the asshole for not giving the neighbor's kids candy? I, 21F, live with my parents in the Netherlands. Here we have a tradition on November 11th called Sint Maarten. It's where kids make their own lanterns, go door to door, sing songs for candy, kind of like trick-or-treating. In my neighborhood, we have the rule that the kids and their parents can only come to the door for candy between 6 and 7 p.m. No sooner and no later. It's also a rule that the houses who participate need to have a candle outside next to the door. No candle means no songs candy. Now we have new neighbors. They moved here 6 months ago, but this is the first time they participated here, with 4 kids between 9-ish and 15-ish, so of course they were welcome to participate. Now I was home alone during Sint Maarten because my parents were with my aunt, who's really sick. I was really busy with my projects for college, but between 6 and 7 p.m., I happily put a candle next to the door and prepared a bowl of candy. Many kids came to sing songs, and it was adorable. At 7 p.m., I blew out the candle, grabbed the rest of the candy to snack on, there were 3 pieces left, and went back to my projects. I had a deadline that evening. Around 9 p.m., the bell rang. I opened the door, and there were the new neighbors. The kids immediately started singing songs. I didn't know what to do, and when they were done, I politely told them that the planned hour for Sint Maarten was already over. The mom said that they couldn't participate then because absolutely couldn't miss her TV show and that her husband was grocery shopping. Now, I'd like to point out that we have a group chat with all the adults in the neighborhood, and each year the rules are repeated. These new neighbors are also in this chat. I told them that it wasn't my fault that they had other priorities and that I didn't have a candle outside. The mom told me that because I had the decorative lights above the front door on, they assumed that I was still participating. I explained the rules again and told them that it had to be a candle outside the door to prevent confusion. She asked me if I was really going to deny her kids candy after they sang me a song. I told them that we didn't have anything left, and she got even more mad. I pointed out that even if I had any left, I wouldn't have had enough for all her kids. She demanded that I go find candy for her kids, when I told her that the best that I could do was some fruit. She scoffed and said that I had ruined Sint Maarten for her kids. The kids started whining for candy, and the mom told them that I didn't have any for them. In the meantime, it was almost 9:30. My deadline was for 11, and I still had a lot to do. I was tired, stressed, and had a headache, so I was grumpy. I still tried to be as polite as possible and told them that I had to get back to my project. The next day, there was a message in the group chat from the mom saying that her kids were disappointed that they couldn't participate and that she expected better from a neighborhood with so many kids. So am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You had nothing to give them, and they knew the rules. They decided TV was more important than participating in the event. The kids' disappointment is on the parents, not you. You followed the rules, and they didn't even want to take your very generous offer of fruit when you should have offered nothing since the event was over. Choices have consequences. Remind the group that the mother chose to watch TV instead of taking her kids out and put the blame where it belongs, with her. Not the asshole. She showed up 2 hours late. She went to a house without a candle. Even someone who had wanted to give candy could easily have been out of candy by then. However, next time, don't answer the door at all after blowing out the candle. You had something else to do. This hits the mark. Where we live in the Netherlands, people just ring the doorbell anyway. Whether you participate or not, we choose just to not respond. We turn off the bell for one night as well. Couldn't miss her TV show? That era ended at least 30 years ago, but even so, what a shitty excuse. The mom is just projecting her own incompetence and is desperately trying to save face with her kids by putting the blame on everyone else. Sorry, kids. I had to stare at the TV for an hour, specifically the hour that I already knew was reserved for this holiday's traditions, but I'm used to getting my way, so not the asshole. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.